A couple of years ago, my life veered off in a direction that I had not been expecting and certainly didn't want, and I found myself single again. And in some ways, that was very much like when I lost my virginity at the age of 22, only now it's 6 decades later, and things have changed a lot. Back then, my whole life was ahead of me. But now my hair is white, and I've gotten some wrinkles, and my shelf life is almost coming to an end. And I didn't know quite what to do because there are no books out there on sex and the single octogenarian. I was pretty much on my own. So what do I do now? Well, it seemed to me that going shopping for a vibrator was probably the best thing to start with. And so I went looking for a place where I could buy a vibrator, and I did not want to go to one of these sleazy places out on the fringes of town with one of those weird-looking guys behind the counter that I didn't want to have to deal with. And I found a really nice adult toy store on a nice shopping center area here in the city. And I went there, discovered it was run by women. I felt very comfortable there. What an eye-opener. I mean, they had stacks, rows of vibrators in all shapes and sizes and colors and forms. And I was very pleased to have that kind of a selection. And I picked myself a nice little kind of a purpley number. No human cock I've ever seen. It was purpley and had quite that twist to it. But I got what I wanted. And then there were all these other toys that were absolutely fascinating. What is a cock ring? What do you do with a cock ring? And then there was this kind of it looked like a miniature saguaro that might have been raised by a Japanese bonsai gardener. I had no idea what aperture that thing was made for. But it was fascinating, and I got my vibrator, and it was like getting a new car. You know, you take it home, and you want to take it out for a spin and see how it works, and mine worked just fine. I was having a great time with this. But I am old school, and I like to have some conversation in with all this action. I like to have some conversation before and maybe again after. And so this gave me the idea for a talking dildo. And the first thing I would do, I would program this thing to call me by my name, so that when I turned it on, it would say, "Carolyn, you really turned me on." And it would say, "Carolyn, I'm hard for you," which of course is the way you like it. And maybe I could even teach it to speak French, and it would say something like, "J'aime le remousse de framboise," and that means, "I really like your strawberry swirl." But there were all the things too that it wouldn't do, and that was appealing. It would not want me to give it a hand job and then say, "Faster, faster, harder, harder, up near the head." It wouldn't want me to do a blow job with a sword swallower and the deep throat thing that I had to banish my gag reflex. It wouldn't tell me that I love you and then take it back 15 minutes later. It wouldn't try to talk me into anal sex. And it wouldn't zip up and leave and say, "I'll call you," and then ghost me. No, my talking vibrator would always be there for me. And all I have to do is keep the batteries charged.